Welcome to the Mixed Race Belonging podcast, where we explore the intersection of mixed identity and belonging through the lens of somatics and personal and collective liberation to help you heal your belonging wounds and reconnect with your innate wholeness through relationships, new experiences, and activism. I'm your host, Raina LaGrand, an embodiment coach for mixed race people with a background as a trauma therapist, yoga teacher, and health educator. The tools and insights I share with you here are the approach that has not only helped me heal my belonging wound, but also helped me help my mixed race clients do the same. We all need something good to belong to right now. Relationships and spaces where we feel safe, held, seen, heard, and dignified. Thanks for being here, and let's get started with today's show. Hello, 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 hey, hello, 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 hey, hello, hello. Dancing in my seat as I sing that. I feel like I've used that tune before. That's an Erica Badu song. If anybody is curious, welcome back to the podcast, y'all. So, little housekeeping. I am recording from my friend's home because Xfinity Comcast is doing work in my neighborhood today. And yeah, I needed to get some work done. I'm about to teach a continuing education course for some social workers in a little bit. And so I came over to my friend's house. She graciously is letting me use her home while she's away at work. And it's a beautiful day. And so I have the door open to the patio. And so you might hear some birds. You might not, I think my mic is pretty good at like isolating sound. But if you get to hear some birds and chirps, I mean, that's pretty great if you ask me. I'm also excited to share that this last weekend was the inaugural event for the Mixed Race Belonging Collective. We had the welcome retreat. There were about 9 of us there, and it was really special. It was really sweet. We did some somatic orienting practices. We did a little poetry writing. We introduced ourselves to each other. I taught a little bit about my belonging wound concept, and yeah, it was just great to see everyone. It's like a great combination of people who I've met before and worked with before, and people who we are brand new friends. And so if you're thinking about joining the Mixed Race Belonging Collective, we'd love to have you. It's never too late to join. The doors are always open. When you join the collective, it's really cool because you kind of instantly feel less alone knowing that you are in community with other mixed folks who just get it, who will see you and understand you. And in today's podcast episode, I'm going to talk more about what I teach in the collective, specifically around what skills we are building that will help you to build other relationships outside of the collective where you will feel seen and held. So let's get into that. So, if you're someone who constantly feels like you can't find any friendships where you actually feel seen, um, around every corner is somebody who doesn't get you. You might have internalized this to mean that you're too different or that you don't make sense to other people or that other people are just mean. And some other people are mean. I will validate that for you. And you all know, I know that it's hard to be a mixed person. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But if you're consistently feeling like you're not seen in your relationships, there might be something else going on. It might be that you learned how to protect yourself. You learned to protect yourself by keeping people out. And again, being mixed is hard. Belonging is not easy for anyone. And as mixed people, we have our own unique challenges around that, obviously. And so this kind of protective strategy really does come from somewhere. Being mixed, you may have learned early on that focusing on what other people think of you or focusing on how you can make other people comfortable or happy, that's how you are going to fit in. And you learned that it wasn't safe to be vulnerable. You maybe learned that connection itself just wasn't safe, that you had to hide parts of who you were to fit in, that you had to suppress your own opinions because other people thought they were wrong. You might have even learned that your own parents didn't understand you. As infants, we actually learn that we exist on this planet, that we learn who we are, we learn that we belong and that our needs matter when our caregivers attune to our emotions, when they hold us, and when they respond to our needs. But that is challenged. Even if you had great parents, if they didn't fully understand you and your experiences, they couldn't really like mirror those back to you in a way that felt validating. And maybe even then feeling like in your extended family and community or cultural spaces that, again, people didn't fully see or hear you, and it causes this void that is frankly emotionally unbearable because we're social creatures. We're wired for connection. Our bodies never stop looking for connection and will do what it needs to get the connection that we need or to prevent the pain of rejection and abandonment. So, as a mixed person who learned that belonging was conditional, you may have started to override your own feelings and needs and really like disconnecting from yourself, from your essence, from your core. And you may have practiced this so well that you now don't even realize that you're doing it. It's automatic. So, I think I work with a lot of people and I identify in this way that you might think of yourself as a caring person, and you are, but your patterns of caring for other people may have been heavily shaped by your fear of being abandoned to the point where you're not just caring for other people, you're abandoning yourself in the process. So, while this approach has protected you emotionally in some ways, this kind of disconnecting from yourself to make other people's happy or comfortable or whatever, this strategy has also come at a huge cost because now you don't even know who you are. There's this performative or shrunken version of you who leads in your relationships. It leads you into relationships with people who would rather make assumptions about you and your experience and actually get to know you. It leads you into relationships where you're expected to do things that you're not interested in or outside of your values. It leads you into relationships where you constantly have to defend your reality and your feelings. It leads you to waffle on boundaries or ruminate over the perfect way to say things or disregard your sensory needs because you're afraid that you're going to end up alone if you're honest and you hold to it. It leads you to blame yourself for being upset or anxious when others say hurtful things because you shouldn't be so fragile, you should get over it, or you should be grateful that people are your friends. And it even leads you to isolate and withhold sharing more about yourself, being vulnerable when there are welcoming, affirming people right in front of you because you can't trust it. But I want you to know that it is never too late to reconnect with yourself and show up more authentically in the world. I feel like I talk about this a lot, that it's never too late, that our brains, our bodies are really always learning and integrating new information, and we can support that process. Connecting to your body, connecting to your emotions, your spirit, it is a corrective experience when you tune inward. It helps to repair the wounds of where you felt abandoned and neglected by yourself and by other people. It helps you to develop a sense of inner belonging, of embodied belonging, so that you know you are inherently worthy of connection and that you don't have to sacrifice anything about yourself in order to find the relationships where you do feel seen and held. So, inner belonging, I think of as this experience of belonging to and with yourself, of feeling at home in your body, feeling like you have a friend or an ally in yourself, seeing yourself with compassion, knowing yourself, trusting yourself, feeling like you can be a compassionate witness to your experience, that compassionate, caring presence that you deserve and have always wanted. And I think of embodied belonging as, if you think back to a few moments ago, and I was saying like how we learn that we belong as infants and young kids, When we get enough of that from our caregivers, our community members, it creates this kind of imprint, this core belief, this core way of seeing the world of really, yeah, knowing that you inherently belong. And it builds like this sense of resilience. It's a resource that you can cultivate and take with you everywhere you go. So, cultivating this inner belonging, doing this repair process, cultivating a sense of inner belonging, getting more connected to what you feel, what you want and need, what you like and don't like. That is what's going to help you to feel seen in your relationships and be able to find relationships where you are seen. Because when you're in touch with your inner world, you can share that inner world with others in a way that will draw the right people to you and help you feel closer and more connected to them. This process of reconnection, reconnecting with yourself, is called attunement. And it's what we're focusing on this month in the workshop on Sunday in the Mixed Race Belonging Collective. Attunement is often talked about in the psychology world of how we sense other people, how we help other people to feel seen and got, and how we build trust with other people through that process of seeing them. But the same thing happens inside for us. We can sense ourselves. So in this workshop, I'm going to teach you tried and tested somatic skills for feeling more connected to your body, reading your emotions with more accuracy, and responding to your needs with compassion and clarity. And when you learn the skill of attunement, when you start to do that thing of connecting to your body, your emotions, and responding to your needs, it's going to be easier to recognize why you're triggered, to validate what you're feeling, and you're going to know how to take care of yourself instead of feeling confused or critical of your own reaction. And I find that this can be really helpful for everyone, especially though if you have a trauma history or if you're neurodivergent. Those kind of things can have an effect on our brain where it makes it a little harder to tune in to what we're feeling. But again, our brains are adaptive, and this is a skill, a muscle that they can build. This kind of skill of attunement is also going to help you to walk away from relationships that are unfulfilling or harmful because you won't be so afraid that you'll end up alone. You'll know that first of all, you always have yourself, and second of all, you're going to feel more trust that there are others out there who are waiting to meet you. I think about my client Katie, who participated in one of my programs, and during that program ended up walking away from a long-term relationship because she'd been staying in it for so long because she felt like she should just accept this person for who they were. And while that's a great intention, she actually was just so deeply unsatisfied, but she was also afraid, like, will I feel connected to other people if I don't have this romantic partnership? And the work that we did together helped her to feel more courageous to take that leap. Attunement also helps you to express what you want and need in your relationships and what your boundaries are, so you can actually see who is really capable of being the kind of friend, partner, family member that you deserve. So it's not just about, oh, I'm unfulfilled in this relationship and I'm going to walk away from it. That is sometimes the right move. Sometimes the right move is actually, I need to name what I need because this person can't read my mind and they might not know what I want and need because everybody's just, in their own world and has their own kind of worldview about how to show up in relationships. And sometimes I say to my clients, we sometimes have to train the people in our lives how to love us. We have to teach them how to love us. And the right people will be receptive to that and will be in conversation with you about what they are and aren't able to provide for you. Finally, when you learn how to attune to yourself, this helps you to feel safer in your body with whatever you're feeling, so you can take that risk of letting other people in to support you in the areas that you really need support the most. And as I've referenced, these kind of skills not only help you to build more positive relationships, but they're also going to help you to feel less anxious, less defeated about the people and the places where you encounter a lack of understanding or outright rejection. Because knowing yourself in this way, like I said, you build a sense of inner belonging, but you also build a sense of self-trust and a sense of resilience. You have something to fall back on in the hardest moments. You learn that you can tolerate challenging things, that you can navigate challenging things. And I know, I mean, as I'm saying this, I mean, it totally feels like an infomercial a little bit, like I'm selling you big promises, but truly, this is the most important somatic skill, emotional skill, and it's one that so many of us are challenged by because we live in such an avoidant culture when it comes to emotions and nurturing, comforting care. So, if you are ready to get to know yourself so deeply so that you can start building more relationships where you actually feel seen, where you can let your guard down and confidently just be, join the Mixed Race Belonging Collective. You can join us Sunday for the workshop. And whether or not you attend live, being in the collective means that you get access to watch the recording later. So that means you can rewatch it as well as many times as you need to practice these skills. And these are obviously also skills that we're going to continue to build on in future workshops. So if you're interested in joining us, we'd love to have you. The link to sign up is in my show notes. And as always, you can DM me or email me if you have any questions. Can't wait to see you this weekend.